The latest entry in the Dynasty Warriors franchise has just arrived on Google Stadia day and date, and I'm here to give you my first impressions, and boy is there a lot to say. If I'm being honest, the game just feels incredibly rough, and I don't think it has anything to do with Stadia. I think the game itself just really missed the mark. Now, for those who are familiar with Dynasty Warriors but maybe not in the know about what the Empire spin-off is about, basically adds more of a strategic element to the overall game. A good chunk of the game is looking at menus and deciding what sort of political options you have, be it to raise money, focus on training, get ready for an invasion, bolster your defenses, or even pillage. All of it is about building up your kingdom. So if you were hoping for a more action-oriented mainline Dynasty Warriors game, sadly this isn't it. That's not to say that there isn't action, but there's a lot of downtime in between it. When compared to the mainline Dynasty Warriors 9, there's actually been a big positive change with the battles. No longer is it this giant empty open world, but rather smaller scale and more focused fights. The open world concept that was introduced with 9 was heavily critiqued, so I'm glad this change was made. But if you want to explore the open world, you can still do that by initiating a stroll. In this scenario, you're pretty much just walking around and then fighting random mobs of people or animals to collect money and food. You can also interact with other officers in your kingdom, but it kinda feels superficial because you can do it from the menu as well without having to do this. And while I'm not too big a fan of it, I can totally understand if somebody actually loves the option to do this. It is a nice touch for the role-playing element after all. And now that you have an understanding of what the game might be like, let me just focus a bit on the pros. The game on Stadia does offer both a frame rate and resolution mode. The dynamic storylines are a neat touch, and the overall Empire's gameplay loop is still there if you were a fan of it. And that's kind of about it. Frankly speaking, I did not enjoy my time with this game so far. It feels like it lacks optimization, there's a lot of weird visual bugs and glitches, the gameplay is heavily repetitive and quite a bit shallow. There's an awful amount of loading screens even if they do happen to pass by pretty fast, and the game itself doesn't look very good. Even on high resolution mode, the textures look pretty bad. Now personally, I was a huge fan of the Dynasty Warriors franchise back in the PS2 days. I absolutely love those games, but this is a far cry from what I remember from back then. The only way I can describe it is that it kind of feels like it's half-baked. Like something that I would have seen early on last gen. And real talk, that saddens me because I want to like this game more than I am right now. I can't possibly recommend it at full price. At first, I thought maybe I was being a tad bit over harsh, but I ended up looking at what this game was scoring in reviews, and across the board it seems to be getting panned by critics and fans alike. It seems like the developers behind it decided to try something new with Dynasty Warriors 9 and it didn't pay off, and Empires, while it is better than 9, still suffers from those decisions. Despite all this, I know that the franchise is still in good hands, and I hope that they can turn it around for Dynasty Warriors 10. We've seen just what they can do with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. This is very lacking in comparison. Now, for some details about how the game runs on Stadia, look, there are a lot of visual bugs and issues, and there's a lot of visual jank as well. I've had a couple issues of the game actually stuttering and then fast forwarding in gameplay, a little bit weird, but from my understanding, this might not even be a Stadia issue. The game suffers from a lot of poor optimization across the board on other platforms as well. I know a lot of people have reported screen tearing, luckily I haven't encountered any on the Stadia version, but all in all, I can't help but be disappointed. I am glad that they offer both a frame rate and resolution mode, but it just isn't the best looking or best playing game. So ultimately, do I recommend picking up Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires on Stadia? Right now, no. And frankly speaking, even if you're a fan of the franchise, I would tell you to wait for a discount. Now, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful at all, be sure to hit that like button as it really does help the channel out, and if you're wanting more content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. As always, this has been the Virtual Cloud, giving you the latest and greatest on everything cloud gaming and VR related, and until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.